we're not expecting Carlos Carrasco to be great, but when you're pitching it, that matchup, for him to be the one up against Tarik Skubal, it's like the worst possible matchup for the Yankees.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. With me, as usual, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian, it's midweek.
Stacey, who had a worse day, Cody Bellinger or Sam Menzin?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough one. We'll explain that in a bit. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified when our videos go live. On today's show, we preview the finale with the Tigers. The Yankees are trying to avoid a sweep. We will also tell you about some injury updates. There are two players who may be returning sooner than we thought. One of them is do we need him to return? We're not sure. The other one, yes, we need him to return. So we'll talk about that. But first, the Yankees in Detroit, some things happening in Detroit that have nothing to do with the game. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, I don't want to brag, but if you listen to yesterday's episode of Locked On Yankees, we kind of called this one. Tarik Skubal started the year 0-2, was looking for a reason to beat up on somebody, and he did that exact thing. He was dominant. He was a little shaky in the first two innings, and then after that, it was just smooth sailing. It was cruising. If it wasn't done to my team as a baseball fan, I would have taken a lot of pleasure in watching that game because he put on a masterclass. He was that good. Went through the Yankees lineup. They not a single hitter in the Yankee lineup, by the way, had a base hit below the 3-hole. That's crazy to think about. They only worked, I think, one walk-off of Skubal. It was Volpe. I mean,
it wasn't even off him. It was off a reliever. He didn't walk anyone. Yeah, he just struck out.
Then that's how good he was. I mean, he was incredible, unbelievable, no runs, and the Yankees really got nothing going either at any point. The only guy that really had good at-bats against him, Judge and Goldschmidt, that was really it. And Judge has great career numbers against Skubal to begin with. Other than that, the Yankees looked lifeless, and I wonder if Carlos Carrasco pitched his last inning as a Yankee.
Yeah, Cody Bellinger was out of the game due to food poisoning. Apparently, he had bad wings. He was up all night throwing up.
Weird. Who gets wings in Detroit?
Yeah, I don't know. Also, I don't know. Like, what could make you throw up from wings? Maybe the sauce, possibly. I don't know. But I feel like his food poisoning was a harbinger of how the game was going to go because Carlos Carrasco basically threw up all over the mound. Back to back home runs. Just like we're not expecting Carlos Carrasco to be great, but when you're pitching it, that matchup, for him to be the one up against Tarik Skubal, it's like the worst possible matchup for the Yankees.
Yeah, he was left in a bad spot. No one's going to give him an excuse for this one. It's not a good spot to be in coming into the game, going up against Skubal, especially, again, Skubal coming off 0-2, really looking for a reason to dominate. He, did. But again, this Detroit team, you said it best. This is a spunky team, and they're going to be around all summer. This team's not going to go away. They're going to win a lot of games this year. They're going to be back in the postseason, and they're going to be a little brat to deal with in the postseason. They are. They've got, I guess the good word to use is spunky hitters that are just going to get on base. They're going to cause problems. They have a little bit of power in their lineup. The pitching is unbelievable. They're going to be a tough out in the postseason. They're not an easy team to deal with. And, the Yankees very well might get swept in this series if it's not for Max Fried, who I'm sure will have something to say about it. But he's got to go up against Flaherty. He's not going to be easy either. And we'll get into that in the third segment. But this is not an easy series remotely for the Yankees. And they could very well be heading back at 500 at 6-6.
Yeah. So the Yankees struck out 9 times overall. Goldschmidt, Chisholm, and Peraza were the only ones who didn't strike out. As you said, Goldschmidt had hits. He had 3 hits. Rice had a hit. Judge had 2 hits. They were the only guys who got hits for the Yankees. It was just not a good game in any way, shape, or form. As we said going into it, the matchup didn't really favor the Yankees, but it was just bad. Like, there wasn't even they weren't even competing at one point. Like, it was really hard to watch that game. And I'm worried that it's going to be one of those games later today that is like, let's just get out of here and go home kind of game. I don't want to see that from them. I really hope it doesn't happen. We're not going to see that from Max Fried, obviously, but I'm afraid that the lineup is going to look like that because, as you said, it doesn't get any easier. When we were previewing this series, we said that every pitching matchup was going to be rough, even with Skubal coming in the way he was. Actually, that's what was going to make it rougher because we knew coming in 0-2, he had a chip on his shoulder. And like I said in yesterday's show, it wasn't just that. The way his season ended in 2024, you don't want to start 0-3. So
no, especially with the ERA where it was too. I mean, Skubal's got this throughout his career, right? He's had struggling seasons, injury problems. People think of Skubal because he kind of came on the scene last year winning the Cy Young where everyone kind of figured out who he was. He's been in the league for a while, though. He's going to be a free agent after next season. So he's been in the league for a while. His arbitration's almost up. His rookie contract is almost up. And then he's going to get a boatload of money for whoever wants to give him, and likely the Dodgers. But, that's going to be an interesting one because Skubal's one of those guys. People don't realize how long he's been in the league. It's just been injury problems and getting off to bad starts and being on bad teams, which doesn't help either. So, he's one of those pitchers that, though, like, his stuff is so ridiculous. That power changeup, and his changeup looks different than other guys too because it looks like it's going straight like his fastball, and then it just drops off. It's almost because it plays like a sinker, but it goes straight down instead of runs away like a sinker. It's got a lot of Devin Williams changeup in it, except this one has a lot of velocity to it. Devin Williams has velocity, but it's not as much. It's more pronounced and more drops. This one just is like a power changeup. It's so weird with Skubal's pitches. He's a tough guy to deal with. He really is. I don't like the spot the Yankees are going into Game 3 either, to be honest with you. It does feel like a getaway spot, get us home, get to the next series, and they have an off day Thursday too, which doesn't help either.
Right. I'm interested to see what the lineup's going to look like later today.
Who knows? No one really knows.
One good bit of news, Ian Hamilton's back. He pitched an inning, gave up 1 hit, struck out 2. It's good to have him back in the bullpen.
Can we mention too, by the way, I kind of feel bad for the guy. I mean, listen, he's getting crazy money, so whatever. Adam Ottavino, I mean, I've never seen the Yankees jerk a guy around like this ever.
Well, it's not really. Well, but here's the thing. It's not really jerking around. I saw a post from River Avenue Blues earlier, and it kind of made sense. They said about the Ottavino thing. They were joking about how, here it is. Ian Hamilton is back. Adam Ottavino has been DFA'd again. Seems like the Yankees have a 27th man thing going on with Ottavino, like the Braves and Jesse Chavez. Sign him, use him, DFA him, then re-sign him, do it again over and over whenever they need an arm. So he may have agreed to that, where he's just like, okay, like you're giving me...
I mean, it gets him paid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think he really cares, but I mean, it's just like, it's brutal. Like, guy comes in, gives up 2 runs. All right, you're DFA'd. And then 3 days later, he signs a contract with them again. What a weird spot to be in.
So what was the other thing you wanted to talk about with Detroit?
Yeah, so Sam Menzin not having a good weekend. I don't know if you guys are aware who this is. He's the Detroit Tigers assistant GM who was was forced to resign from the job, or he would have been fired because he was showing his torpedo bat to female employees that work in the Detroit Tigers organization. Listen, is it happening is horrible. The fact that any man is out there doing this is disgusting, But sometimes to get through the difficult things in life, I think you got to laugh a little bit, right? What are we doing? You're the assistant GM of a Major League Baseball team. I mean, grow up a little bit. Like, this is a grown man who's sending lewd photos of himself to female employees on the Detroit Tigers. Does it get more 7th grade? Does it get more pathetic? You're the assistant GM on one of the up-and-coming young teams in all of baseball. That's exciting to deal with. I'm pretty sure I heard on the radio earlier that he's married, which is terrific. Like, I don't understand the
See, that's even worse. Like, the whole thing is bad, but the fact that he's married and doing this, what are you doing? I have to say, I'm so happy that I grew up in the era before cell phones and especially cell phone cameras, because as you were talking about growing up and, this sounds like something a young guy would do. I'm thinking of some of the guys I went to high school with who probably would have done the same thing if they had access to a cell phone with a camera. And I'm so thankful that I grew up in the 80s and 90s, because no thanks.
Men, just a PSA as the resident male on the show every day. I'll take this one off your hands, Stacey. This is just a message, and Stacey will confirm after I make my statement. This is just to all men out there, coming from a man, coming from a fellow. We'll call each other friends if you watch the show often enough. No female.
If you're an everydayer, we're friends.
No female wants you to send that photo. Don't do it. She's not asking for it. She's not looking for it. She's not hoping you'll send one. No one wants to see it. Okay, relax. It's not that impressive. Okay, no one wants to see your coney dog. It reminds me of Sam Porter. Jared Porter, actually, the Mets GM who was doing this not Mets. He wasn't the GM of the Mets. He was the president of baseball ops, whatever he was doing. Yeah. He was doing things that were also not supposed to be being done. This happens too often, and it's just flat out weird, right? Like, it doesn't, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't hurt anyone, right? It's not illegal, but it's weird. And please stop. It's not normal. So I just wanted to bring that up because, come on, guys, be better, please.
Yes, exactly. Be better. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You get texts from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades, and all of Adam Ottavino's signings. We send out lineups during the season, roster moves, and breaking news, so you don't have to check social media. There is a 14-day free trial. Coming up, we have some injury updates, and a Yankee starter may be coming back sooner than expected. So we'll talk about that next.
Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. And plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller for longer. There is a variety of great flavors that includes jalapeno lime, dill pickle, chili roasted, and smoky barbecue. You can get lightly salted, or unsalted if your taste buds aren't quite ready for those bold flavors too. Personally, I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab-and-go snack for busy days. And whether I'm snacking at the desk or I'm on a road trip or I just need a quick protein boost, they're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are also a classic favorite. Whether you're running between meetings or dropping off the kids, Wonderful Pistachios are the snack that works as hard as you do. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. And thanks again for making Locked On Yankees your first listen. Remember that every Friday is Fan Mail Friday. You can leave questions underneath the pinned comment on our videos Monday through Thursday, or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club to get top priority during Fan Mail Friday. The link is in our description. So, Stacey, some injury news on the Yankee front, because this is fascinating, and I got to get your opinion on how you feel about this one, because it's an interesting spot they're in. They've been platooning pretty much. Peraza and Cabrera going pretty much at the start of the year. I feel like Cabrera has gotten a little more of the opportunity, but it's pretty much been equal. Yeah. And I think we were both under the assumption that it was going to be a pretty decent amount of time until DJ LeMahieu was ready. And way sooner than anyone anticipated, he's going to be back. I don't know how he's going to be not going through a full spring training because he basically didn't do that, but he's with the team in Detroit, doing rehab, apparently with the team doctors and everything like that. And by the end of the week, he's going to be heading to Somerset to go to Double-A and work out with the team and join their team. I feel weird about this one. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't think that he's going to be able to contribute nearly to the level that Peraza or Cabrera have, and they've been good. I don't think he's at that level anymore as a player, and that's not a knock to DJ LeMahieu. I think he, in his prime, was a really good player. But Stacey, I don't know if he's at that level of a player anymore, and now you're going to throw him into the lineup, hoping that he is that level of player, and call me crazy. DJ LeMahieu, the way he is spoken about by the Yankees, along with the salary that he has and the remainder of the salary that he has, feels like a spot where they're going to play him a lot more than he's probably going to deserve to be played. It's just a weird spot that we're heading into. And I don't want to sit here and talk badly about a player who's had a really respectable major league career.
Sure.
But when it's over, it's over. And it does feel like Aaron Boone is going to play him a lot out of respect more than who the best player is at the moment. Your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, you saw it last year in the few games that he did play. There were some times where you're thinking to yourself, why? I feel bad for him. You know, I just don't understand why, when you have these young kids who can play third and are athletic, DJ's getting up there. He keeps getting injured. You know, he's not as quick at third as he once was. You know, Peraza's gotten pretty good at playing third base, you know, because he wasn't a third baseman, but he's gotten good. He's gotten enough reps at third. And the Yankees were, you know, it looked like the Yankees were grooming him to play third. And I don't like this because I feel like this is going to be another instance of them, for lack of a better term, screwing Oswald Peraza.
You're right. We have to do an episode where we dive deep into the Oswald Peraza thing because it's so fascinating and weird. A top tier prospect in all of baseball, and they just refuse to give him a legitimate opportunity. It's strange,
right?
And he's not one of those guys who hasn't shown that he deserves a full-time opportunity. He has shown that he deserves one, and they still won't give it to him.
Which is weird because they gave Volpe 2 years.
2 years. 2 years. DJ LeMahieu last year in 67 games. So keep that in mind. A, he missed nearly 100 games. Mm-hmm. But B, 67 games is still a decent sample size to see what kind of player you are. He hit 204 with a 269 on base percentage. I mean, that's and let's be real, Stacey. The 204 is a little skewed because he got hot before he got hurt at that point where he started playing a little better and people were thinking, oh, something coming here. And then he got hurt. He was hitting in the 180s most of the year last year. For a large majority of it, he also had 2 home runs and 26 RBIs. So he didn't give you production, and a lot of those power numbers came from that Phillies game where he had the 2 home runs.
One game. That one game.
So it's really skewed his numbers too. And again, I don't want to sit here and you know, degrade a player who really had a fine, fantastic major league career. I'm not doing that, Stacey.
Right.
It feels like they're going to force him into the lineup, and they're going to force him to be playing every single day, and it's going to take time away from A, guys that deserve to play, but B, it's going to make the team worse. In reality, it really.
Yeah, because like, where are you going to put him? You know, are you going to lead him off? Like, where is he going to bat? I just, I understand.
There isn't a spot for him.
Yeah, I understand. He's a veteran. I know that Boone is the type of guy to play a guy until he's run into the ground, until the Yankees have no choice but to DFA the guy if that's the conclusion. I don't think it will be, but you never know.
They might have to, though. He might play his way into that. Like that might be the case.
Like,
I don't know if they're going to, but
because you know, we've been waiting for DJ LeMahieu to be DJ LeMahieu for how many seasons now?
Yeah, and he gave it to you for 2 years. I mean, he was
Yeah,
really good
he
for
was
2 of those years.
incredible, but again, 2019, I've spoken about this many times. I feel like it messed up some guys because it made people expect them to be like that, and then when the ball wasn't juiced anymore, some of these guys, Glaber's one of them.
Yeah. The 100 RBIs were a farce.
Yeah.
Out of the leadoff spot. That was a little ridiculous.
I mean, he just hit every time someone was on base. He scored them that year.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable watching DJ LeMahieu in 2019.
And then
He
the
was
COVID
incredible.
year. And then the COVID year where he hit like 360. It was insane.
Yeah.
Which you don't see guys do very often. He's a great hitter. We're not taking that away from him. But
yeah,
it's just they got this is a bad signing, and it,
like it turned
you feel
into
bad
it.
saying it, but it turned into a really bad one.
Yeah.
The other news too, Luis Gil, he's going to start a throwing program this upcoming Monday. It's going to take a while though because he really didn't get a full spring training. They're going to want him get him through a full spring training. I personally don't expect him back until early June, probably at the earliest at this point.
Yeah, that would be the absolute earliest. Because they had reported this last Friday. We had missed it because we weren't doing the show Friday, and we forgot to mention it yesterday. They reported on Friday. At that point, it could be 7 to 10 days, and then it came out on Tuesday that it was more than likely going to start Monday, which that's the timeline. It was 7 to 10 days, so that works out perfectly. Plus, you always kind of want to start programs on Mondays because that's the start of the week kind of thing. I don't know. Is that just me? I do that too. You. See, I do that too, though. Like if I stop a streak of something, I'll be like, all right, I'll start everything out. I'll start everything again on Monday. So he will be coming back sooner because they weren't expecting him to start throwing this soon. They really weren't. Like he was going to be out for a while. Like they were expecting him to not come back until almost the All-Star break, right? So it is, as we record this, it's April 8th. So it'll be April, 14th when he starts throwing. So yeah.
A month and a half.
Conceivably, you could see him by early June, which is way earlier than the All-Star break, which the Yankees really need. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, works for them. They need pitching, so that works for them.
Yeah. All right. Well, coming up, we preview the finale in Detroit against the Tigers. Will the Yankees avoid a sweep? Who knows? We'll talk about it next.
You ever check your bank account and wonder where'd all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, it's easy to lose track. And that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO giving you full visibility to control all your finances. Now, Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. And you can track all your accounts, your investments, your spending, all in one place. So you just stop managing your money and you can start building your wealth. Now, when I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. And now I budget smarter and I save more for all the big things that are coming up in life. Instead of just juggling multiple apps, I can use Monarch to check my finances, track my spending, and even plan for those long-term goals that I'm looking forward to. So managing money with your partner becomes easier than ever too. You can track your shared and personal accounts, you can set your goals together, and you can stay on the same page without having any of the stress financially. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. And guys, not only do we cover your team every day, but now we're giving you instant episodes after every single game. You can check out the Locked On Yankees postcast hosted by Jay Berman right here on the Locked On Yankees podcast feed. Get rapid reaction to all the biggest moments with the Locked On Yankees postcast. All right, Stacey, game 3. I was hoping it would be a rubber match, but it won't. It will be the final Yankees trying to avoid their first sweep of the season. Well, sweep where they're getting swept. Yeah. 1:10 p.m. It'll be a Prime Video vehicle. Max Fried will be on the mound. He's 1-0 with a 2.61. He'll go up against Jack Flaherty, who's 1-0 with a 2.38 ERA. Not an ideal matchup. I think the Yankees were hoping that by sending Fried out there, they would get their version of the Carlos Carrasco Tarik Skubal matchup. Not going to happen. There's another tough matchup on the other side of the mound. This is why you get guys like Max Fried, though, allow me to say. This is why Max Fried makes over $30 million a year. To avoid a sweep, make a big pitching performance here, and let's be real. give the Yankees a chance to win a game when every single guy in that clubhouse probably can't wait to get out of that cold weather and get back to New York. So, and not that New York's warm, but you get my point. This is what ace pitchers do. Come out, shove, give them a chance to win. That's what ace pitchers do. So, this is why you sign guys like Max Fried. He knows that. No days off, and you got to go out there and perform because the Tigers do not let up.
Could you imagine if the Yankees hadn't signed Max Fried and Garrett Cole's arm blew up?
Yeah, you would feel a lot less confident about the season. Like a lot less confident.
Yeah. That's a scary thought. Yeah, that's a very
real bad.
Scary thought. Because if we're going to have Carlos Rodon blowing up on the mound and giving up 5 runs, but, also striking out 8, people in the comments were angry about, what was the one comment that I saw? Like, stop saying that he had good numbers. He, and I understand that feeling because I was just as frustrated, but we have to report the fact that he did have that many strikeouts because when he didn't give up those 2 hits that scored all the runs, he was looking good. It's just it feels like, who does he remind me of? Someone else who pitched for the Yankees who pitched the same way. Like they'd be fine for a couple of innings, then have a really bad inning. And it wasn't like this guy was an emotional guy. It's just he would kind of, like Jamison Tyone was kind of like that, where like
God, yeah.
Right? Like he'd pitch like 2 really good innings and all of a sudden he'd fall apart for 1 inning and then he'd go back to being fine, but he'd always end up giving up like 3 runs, something like that.
Except Jamison Tyone lived in the 4 to 5 ERA range, which when he had a bad inning, it was 5 runs.
Right. Like it was really bad. Yeah. Yeah.
Carlos Rodon's stuff is good enough to keep it to 2 runs, but the problem is his stuff is so good that it should be consistent ace status stuff.
I mean, except for the other day, because now his ERA is close to 6.
Another pitcher it reminds me of, and I'm going to make comparisons to another sport in a second, but another Yankee pitcher that this reminds me of is James Paxton. He was a lot like this. Filthy stuff. Yeah. I mean, James, wasn't there a Yankee game where he had like 15 strikeouts? Not 15, but he had a couple over 10 strikeout games. He
Paxton had a really good playoff performance too.
Yes. Really good sweeping slider, an elite level fastball, and also a really long delivery. He was a lanky, tall dude.
Yeah.
Got hurt a lot.
His back.
Also a very mental pitcher. Like once something went wrong with him, that was it. The game went haywire. Carlos Rodon, and hear me out here, I don't know how big of a fan of the sport you are, but he reminds me of a tennis player. Where tennis, if you ever realize, I play tennis every week and I love it. And I love watching tennis. But if you watch tennis is a very mental game. Mm-hmm. Tennis is one of those sports where, listen, if you're playing in the top 300, if you're playing on the tour, you've got absurd talent that no one else in the world has. Everyone's got that crazy talent. But tennis is one of those sports where you miss one shot, you put one off, that's it. Your immediate mind goes to, I can't hit anything. I can't put the ball in play. I can't do anything right. And it's really tough to get yourself back on that correct path. Tennis is an extremely mental game. They say like almost 30% of tennis isn't even the physical part of it, which is so demanding. It's the mental part of it. It's staying in good mental shape. It's staying
Golf
in
is
the
the
game.
same way. Golf is the same way. Yeah.
Very similar. Because again, all these guys that are playing on the PGA Tour, or I guess live now, they've all got this absurd level of talent that got them to this point. It's not that. It's just the mental game of it that throws them for a loop. And pitching can be that way too in baseball. Baseball, you've heard former players say all the time, the batter's box gets that way, where you'll go on a 2-week stretch where you just think, I can't make contact, and all of a sudden something clicks and you're on again. But pitching is that way. And Carlos Rodon, unfortunately, it seems to be a thing with him where one thing goes awry and he's gone. And it takes him a bit to get back. The thing that's so frustrating, and the difference between a Rodon and a James Paxton or a Jamison Tyone, or name that player. By the way, I'm blocked on Twitter by Jamison Tyone because I complained once about a start that he made, and he blocked me, which is fascinating. I was doing the show after a Yankee game where he pitched, and I guess he was listening and wasn't a fan of my comments. Just wanted to throw that out there. But regardless, you see it a lot. The difference is Jameson Taillon, while he was talented, didn't have Carlos Rodon talent. And James Paxton didn't have Carlos Rodon talent. Carlos Rodon's talent is a top 5 pitcher in baseball. And that might sound crazy coming from as Yankee fans hearing that, because we haven't really seen that from him as a Yankee yet. In a couple of spots we've seen it, but not consistently. But if you watch his career and you look at him on the Giants, look at him on the White Sox, he has absurd numbers. He's worth that salary. He just has to learn how to stay in games mentally better. And, you know, it's been a struggle for him since becoming a Yankee. It really has.
Yeah. Before we go, I have to mention,
please,
like, really sad news. Didn't want to bring it up front because we were talking about silly stuff. The club in the Dominican Republic, the roof collapse. Octavio Dotel passed away. Tony Blanco passed away. He pitched for the Nationals. Octavio Dotel pitched for 13 teams, including the Yankees, the Mets, Houston, Oakland. I mean, he pitched for nearly everyone. He appeared in the 2011 World Series. Nelson Cruz's sister, Nelsie, she was, I believe, a governor of one of the provinces in the Dominican Republic. She also passed away in this horrible roof collapse. Right now, as we're recording this, I believe the death toll was 60. It keeps going up. It's just a horrible thing. Our thoughts go out to the families of everyone affected. It's just an awful thing.
Heartbreaking stuff for the baseball world. And you hope that people can start to galvanize around each other and support each other, because anytime you see some tragedy like this, it's just awful. There's really no words we can give you that can make you feel better about it. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's really, really sad. Like I said, I was looking at Octavio Dotel's Baseball Reference page because I couldn't quite remember what year he pitched for the Yankees. So it was 06. I was like, oh, right. Okay. Yes. Because for some reason, I always confuse, and I don't know why, but I always confuse Octavio Dotel and DeMarco Marte because they both pitched for so many teams. They were similar pitchers in that regard, you know? So I looked it up, and yeah, just, you know, a long career, so many teams, and so young still, you know, he was only like a year older than me. So just awful. Again, prayers to everyone affected and to their friends and former teammates. It's just, that's rough. I didn't mean to end everything on a bum note, but I wanted to give our condolences to everyone because I didn't want to forget to do that.
Absolutely. Well said by you.
So thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen. For your second listen today, you can check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.